Welcome to the True Life News Show today, guys. This breaking news, guys, Democrats are going to jail. Top elitists are going to jail. President Trump is cracking down on the corruption, the 2020 stolen election, and this is real, guys. The FBI under Kash Patel has now officially indicted Democratic members, Iranians, and members of the CCP for the stolen 2020 election, guys. This is massive. George Soros was founded to have taken almost $300 million from USAID, the Democrat slush fund, to then use against the United States in bringing chaos and protests and destruction to our country. And guys, I'm telling you, grab some popcorn. Today is a big show. Take a seat and relax, because I'm telling you, this is huge. This is so huge. It gets even better. New evidence that the Biden administration awarded one day after the election $1 trillion to a USAID scam company, reported by Mike Benz. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is massive. The FBI is actively investigating the Soros-backed NGOs funding the insurgency in Los Angeles and in other cities. Kash Patel's FBI has officially indicted Democratic members, Iranians, and members of the CCP for the fake mail-in ballots during the 2020 election. There's also FBI officials that have been indicted for the cover-up as well. We also have it where United States Attorney, guys, I'm telling you, man, today's going to be a good show. Today, United States Attorney Bill Esali, FBI Assistant Director in charge Akil Davis, and IRS Special Agent in charge Tyler Hatcher warn that the sponsors of the insurgency of the consequences of aiding and abetting acts of violence during the civil unrest. This is massive. The day that after Biden lost the 2024 election, the Biden admin gave the USAID scam contracting firm that had already got almost $1 billion in USAID funds a new contract with a $999 billion award amount, guys. This is the biggest fraud, scam, corruption we have found yet to date. We're not talking about $1 million. We're not talking about $1 billion, guys. We're talking about $1 trillion that one day the Biden administration, after they knew Kamala Harris had lost, tried to shovel out almost $1 trillion from the U.S. Treasury to this scam company, guys. This is massive. Arrests are happening. People are getting indicted. People are going to jail, guys. This is what we want. We want accountability. And not only that, guys, when we think about what has happened with George Soros and his anti-America politics and whatnot, he got almost $300 million from USAID. He didn't use his own funds to undermine the U.S. justice system. He used taxpayer funds, guys. And you think that it stops right here, guys? Let me tell you this. People are jumping on the Trump train so big right now. We have it right now that 79% of adults surveyed agree with Donald Trump when you get about not allowing Iran to have a nuclear weapon. And when you get 79% of Democrats, 83% of Republicans agreeing on anything, you know that the position is very clear, majority in the country. Guys, we got a big, huge show today, guys. Breaking news, bombshell news. Want to say thank you to everybody who is watching, to all of our subscribers, all of our viewers. Thank you so much for your support. And if you're not subscribed, please consider smashing that like button, clicking that like button, and joining our family here at True Life News. We are seeing history before our eyes. We are breaking news of just things that we knew was happening, and we're finally having the evidence to show you guys. And Trump is leading the charge. I want to say thank you to all of our members of the channel, and want to thank everybody that gives a super chat donation. I want to give some special love to Grandma Bonnie Morris in the chat, guys. Show Grandma Bonnie Morris some love for her gift of the super chat to help out with our giving. Such a huge blessing. She said, time to give. Our Heavenly Father has never disappointed. We call you our grandson podcaster because we are old, but never too old to say, let's go. I love it, guys. And thank you so much, Tijuana Border Jumper, for the super chat. Said, all the glory to God Almighty. Thank you, Jesus, for forgiving my sins. Amen, brother. Y'all show them some love in the chat. If you don't mind doing us a huge favor of hitting that thumbs up like button. Guys, this is huge today. Not only have the Democrats and Soros are now under investigation, the fake NGOs using hundreds of millions of billions of dollars of our taxpayer dollars to cause chaos in the United States. We also have more news, new indictments on the stolen 2020 election. Trump was right all the time, guys. He said it was stolen. Now we're figuring out it actually was. And 79% of adults in the U.S. believe we should not get into war with Israel and Iran. We are getting into so much huge news today, guys. This is huge. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Listen to this. Oh, sorry, guys. 1 second.
Thus far, has created a fracture in MAGA. Some of Trump's most popular supporters are now claiming that the president is dragging us into a war that the American people don't want. Steve Bannon, Tucker Carlson, others are now assuming that the United States is about to fully engage in a regime change and a war in Iran. An assumption made after Trump sent additional military assets to the Middle East on Monday, as Israel and Iran continue to trade nightly blows, as we are seeing. Take a listen to two of Trump's biggest surrogates, the most popular surrogates he has, Tucker Carlson and Steve Bannon on Monday. Take a listen.
What the is going on in this city that just drives this city, whether you're Barack Obama or Donald Trump? If we don't throw down now in the summer of 2025, we're not going to have a country.
We allowed the architects of the Iraq War, who gravely injured the United States, got all these people killed, Americans killed, to continue to advance. How did we do that?
The specter of that is what we've faced over the last 72 hours. This is exactly the same pitch as the Iraq War. We're in a shooting part of the Third World War. The Third World War is not about to start. It has started. The next 200 days are some of the most perilous times for the American Republic in its history. Because if we don't get this sorted, we're going to be drawn in totally into a conflict as a combatant.
World War III has already begun, Steve Bannon. Well, Tucker tweeted out on Friday, the real divide is between warmongers and peacemakers. Who are the warmongers? They would include anyone calling on Trump to demand airstrikes and other direct U.S. military involvement in a war. And he names Sean Hannity, Mark Levin, Rupert Murdoch, and many others.
Guys, let me tell you this. The money, there's money in war. There was money in all types of funding the war, not in just the war when it happens, but the rebuild after. And we already know there is no accountability that we have found to when it comes to the amount of money that comes out from our U.S. Treasury until Doge came around. But I wanted to show you this because this ties back to the wars, to the aid, to the recovery that the Biden administration, guys, the George Soros, all this is finally being found out right here from Mike Benz. That this contract, look at the date, guys, on the top right-hand corner, November 6, 2024. What does that mean? That means that the day after the election, when they knew the Democrats had lost, they went ahead and awarded this award. And look at the bottom left. Guys, that is $1 trillion of awarded amount for what, guys? This is what I'm talking about. There's no specifics. There's no actual accountability of this money. But this goes back to when it comes to the wars, when it comes to the warmongering, to the money, the taxpayer dollars that are being used for fraudulent corruption waste. This is all where it starts at. And it starts with people trying to get us into things that we shouldn't be in. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you appreciate the truth, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, we are dropping bombs today.
Then last night, Trump left the G7 summit early, returned to the White House, went into the Situation Room today with top advisors in the National Security Council. And then he tweeted out unconditional surrender as a message to Iran, saying that we have control over the skies over Iran, and indicating the Ayatollah could easily be killed but is safe for now. After that, and all that came after, I should say, a leak to Axios that American strikes were on the table. So
tell you guys,
MAGA
big stuff.
Twitter has really exploded since all that, right? Jack Posobiec tweeting out, "No regime change wars, thank you." And plenty more tweets just like it from some very popular people in MAGA world. Sean Ryan, Rob O'Neill there. You see that? And other people, other conservatives in the country. There's a picture of Trump and George W. Bush's faces blended together, which is clever. And the divide is very real, obviously.
Super real.
But nobody said that it was logical. How quickly these people have forgotten just how much this man hates war and despises the war machine that has done so much damage to this country. The reason that so many people that vote for Trump hate war is because he convinced them of how bad it is. Trump hates the Bush family for killing Saddam Hussein and turning Iraq into a nightmare. He can't stand the Bush family. Do you really think he's going to make the same exact mistake? You think he's going to throw this country that he leads into a regime change war in the country right next door that's just as unfamiliar to the American people as Iraq was? Here's how Trump has sounded.
And I want to show you this, guys, because it's so deep of everything that I'm showing you. You think that we're sitting beside, just on the sidelines and things are not happening? You're seeing three men right now, guys. This is the FBI assistant director, a United States attorney, and an IRS special agent who are now actively investigating the Soros-backed NGOs funding the insurgencies in Los Angeles and in other cities. Money, $260 million, guys, given to NGOs that were led by George Soros. And that money they now know is being traced back to pay protesters to go in and try to destroy American cities. And these three guys are making it happen, guys. This right here is what Trump wants to do, of exposing the corruption, the fraud, the waste, the abuse, of stopping so much money coming out with no accountability from the Treasury. That's why he's got Scott Bess in there. That's why Doge is there. But what you're seeing, guys, is I'm bringing you the breaking news of so much accountability. When you look at what you're about to hear next, if you didn't know, guys, the cost of the wars project for Iraq and Syria had a combined total of $2.89 trillion. That's why Trump hates wars. That's why he's not gonna, I feel like, gonna put us into war. Let me know your thoughts on what if we should intervene with Israel in the Iran war. And want to give some love to Tijuana Border Jumper for giving 10 TrueLife News memberships, guys. If you got a free membership, show Tijuana Border Jumper some love in the chat. Listen to this.
The past 10 years consistently.
Our opponents join with warmongers and neocons to wage endless wars, these wars that never end. We got out of these ridiculous, endless wars, killing people on both sides, costing trillions of dollars. We are never going back to a party that wants to give unlimited money to fight foreign wars that are endless wars, that are stupid wars. Instead of endless wars, we want a real plan for victory. We will abandon the policy of reckless regime change favored by my opponent.
All the way back to 2016. Do you think that that guy is dragging us into a regime change war in the Middle East? Do you really think he's doing that? Or is he just blasting noise to force the Islamic regime to capitulate to Israel and to the West? One last chance, right? Throw out a little leak to Axios that U.S. bombs are potentially on the table. Send our assets into the Middle East as intimidation, because it's really scary when they show up. Get all the talking heads, myself included, chatting about a possible U.S. invasion. And if Iran doesn't blink, then maybe you throw Israel a couple of those $4 million bunker busters, and you get the popcorn out as a mountain collapses in northern Iran and the Fordo nuclear base explodes. Does that make a little more sense based on what you know about Donald Trump?
Guys, if Donald Trump is not a promises made, promises kept kind of guy, I just got to show you, because all this stuff that's coming out today is more and more wins. Illegal migrants released into the United States. Look at this. Last year in May, 62,000 plus. In May of 2025, zero, baby. This is promises made, promises kept from a leader that is putting America first in so many facets, guys. Show your love in the chat for our president, because I'm telling you, what you're about to see next, it is cascading down. People are moving out of the way because Trump is coming.
Right now, there's a lot of noise that's probably being drummed up over nothing. And it's funny to see this fracture. People that have followed Trump for all of these years get to this point. You know, if you've gotten this far with him and you bail now, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Trump negotiates like this. This is what he does. This is how he does. Remember the tariffs early on? He scared the hell out of everybody. I thought they were going to have heart attacks on CNBC.
And now they're working.
It's the posturing. In the end, he only wanted, what, a 10% tariff? All those big numbers and all that noise and everything like that. This is negotiation from somebody that's really good at it. He's been doing it for like 50 years. I wouldn't fall for the noise on X. I wouldn't fall for Tucker and Bannon, as much as you probably love them. In yesterday's podcast, both of them determined that Tulsi Gabbard was being left out of the negotiation on all of this because she had said back in March that Iran was not developing nuclear weapons. Well, today, Tulsi was at a congressional hearing, no cameras allowed, but she clarified in that hearing that she and the president actually agree on this and said too many in the media, probably talking about Tucker and Bannon, didn't actually listen to her full statement on Iran, only clipping the first part. So, for you, here is the full clip from back in March.
The IC continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and Supreme Leader Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003. The IC continues to monitor closely if Tehran decides to reauthorize its nuclear weapons program. In the past year, we've seen an erosion of a decades-long taboo in Iran on discussing nuclear weapons in public, likely emboldening nuclear weapons advocates within Iran's decision-making apparatus. Iran's enriched uranium stockpile is at its highest levels and is unprecedented for a state without nuclear weapons.
So the full statement there, obviously she starts off with what's being mentioned, but at the end she says it is unprecedented to have this much enriched uranium and not be building weapons. She's obviously a bit malleable on what the situation is in Iran. Pretty clear that she was uncertain and how rapidly that can change.
Guys, I'm telling you, everything is happening so fast right now, and I just want to show you again, you cannot make this stuff up. So right now, we have U.S. Congressman Thomas Massie introduces Iran War Powers Resolution to prohibit the U.S. involvement in the Israel-Iran war. He said, this is not our war. Even if it were, Congress must decide such matters according to our Constitution. Do you side with Thomas Massie or not? Also, guys, I just got to show you this huge breaking news that came out today. So right here is the award. Look at the top right, November 6th, 2024. Award given by the Biden administration to an NGO. Look at the bottom left, for $1 trillion the day after they knew they lost the election. Guys, this is the corruption that we have finally found. And this is where what I'm about to show you next is beautiful, because the FBI is actively investigating the Soros-backed NGOs funding the insurgency in Los Angeles and in other cities. They're the ones that dropped this huge bombshell of the Biden administration giving away all this trillions. We're not talking about $1 million, guys, or $1 billion. $1 trillion away to an NGO that's being used against the United States, guys. And what I love is that everything today, guys, it just keeps getting better. Because our boy Josh Hawley, the pit bull, is fighting and revealing so much of the rhinos in Congress. If you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, listen to this.
Policies, economic policies, seeing growth in blue-collar wages, which I understand and know is a top priority for you, sir.
Yeah, this is what President Trump has been saying for years. If you get the illegals out of the workforce, the people who've been coming in here, taking our jobs, pushing down wages, what's going to happen? Blue-collar wages are going to go up, and that's exactly what is happening, Steve. The secretary is exactly right. The president's focus on manufacturing. I mean, think about this. The president's doing all of this just by executive order. Think what would happen if the United States Congress actually got its butt into gear and passed some laws that reinforce what the president was doing. That's what needs to happen now. Congress needs to get with it and join the program here. Help the president enact this agenda. Get blue-collar people back to work. Number one, higher wages. Number two, get the illegals out. Number three, I mean, the president he's well on the way. He needs Congress now to do its job.
You're the prism that kind of helps us think through what's happening in the Senate on this bill. Can you give us the finance committees coming out? You got Medicaid, you got taxes. We're hearing at least some analysis. I'm seeing that all of the populist tax cuts are not through here intact, what the president wanted, and Medicaid still a little iffy. Can you walk us through your perspective of where we stand, sir?
Yeah, I'm concerned by what the Senate leadership is proposing to do. It's a big departure from what President Trump called for. It's a big departure from what President Trump worked on with the House, to be honest with you. I mean, last night they...
And guys, I want to remind you guys who's leading the Senate right now. It's Majority Leader Senator John Thune. A lot of people said he was a rhino, and what you're about to hear next, guys, basically solidifies it.
Announced Senate leadership, that is, that they want to roll back some of these Trump tax cuts, the populist tax cuts. No taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime. Those are really reduced in the Senate proposal. I mean, that doesn't make no sense to me at all. Why would we do that? Here's another thing, Steve. They want to extend the Green New Deal subsidies. I mean, I have to tell you, that ought to be a big red line for everybody. Why in the world would we pay to extend Joe Biden's giveaways to China, his giveaways to Wall Street, his giveaways to private equity? It doesn't do anything for middle America. It doesn't do anything for the working class in this country. President Trump ran against it. He was clear. He wants the Green New scam gone.
Yes.
And yet the Senate bill is proposing to extend the Green New scam in a whole bunch of ways. And get this, pay for it by defunding rural hospitals. There's a lot of problems here. I mean, I just look at this and I'm like, why are they throwing the president under the bus? I mean, I look at what the Senate wants to do.
Guys, I have to show you where the Green New Deal money is going towards, guys. It's been found that George Soros got $260 million from USAID. All this Green New Deal stuff. When you think about where this money is going to, you know this guy hates America. He just anti-America to the fullest, anti-democratic. And when we see that the majority, people in the Senate are rewriting, and we're not talking about just the Democrats, we're talking about Republicans are rewriting Trump's bill to continue the Green New Deal, the scam. Like, guys, I'm telling you, we are dropping so many bombs today because these people, Trump is just shining a huge light and exposing everybody for what they truly are. And there's a lot of them that need to be primaried in the next election.
And to me, it looks like they're just departing from everything the president has said is his priorities. Here's my message. Just stick with the president. Cut the taxes for working people that the president wants cut. Protect Medicaid like the president said. Get rid of the Green New scam like the president has been doing in his executive orders. It's time for Congress to get into line here and to get on the job. And I tell you, I look at what some of these senators are proposing to do, and I just don't recognize it. And I mean, this needs work, is all I can say. We got to get this thing fixed so we can get it to the president's desk.
This is what I'm going to get to the taxes in a second, but this is what I'm going to get. So many of the senators in the Senate represent states that have big rural populations, right? Where are they coming out on this? Because the rural hospitals are absolutely essential. We lose those because the care's not great right now, but at least you got something, right? If you extend the Green New scam, which is really underwriting the wealthy, let's be blunt about it.
Yes.
And the hedge funds and the guys are, quite frankly, have made bad investments and they need essentially what this is, a government bailout, right? Why are these other senators that represent rural populations not as infuriated as you are, sir?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's donor money. I don't know if it's just who they go back and listen to when they go home, go to the country club. But I can tell you, extending the Green New Deal and shoveling hundreds of billions of dollars, because that's what we're talking about here now, Steve, in this new Senate proposal. I emphasize new. This is not what the House passed. This is not what the president has negotiated. This is a new thing now. In the new proposal, they're saying, yeah, let's spend hundreds of billions on Green New Deal subsidies that go to rich people, that go to China. We're talking about China solar farms here, Chinese solar panels. And to pay for it, let's defund rural hospitals in the states that voted for Trump, like Missouri. I mean, that's insane. That's the nicest way I can say it. That is absolutely insane. We need a priority check here. We need to get back to basics, get back to listening to the president, which is we should protect those rural hospitals, cut the Green New Deal to shreds, and cut taxes for working people. It's not that hard.
Let's go to the populist tax cuts. No tax on overtime.
Guys, and I want to show you this before we get into that. This right here. Every single day, guys, I am getting to report to you. Look at this. Another Central Ohio woman sentenced to more than 5 years in prison for a $2.8 million pandemic relief fraud scheme. Billions and billions of dollars stolen from people overseas of your hard-earned tax dollars because of this Green New scam. The NGOs. The COVID relief funds, guys. All the stuff that the Democrats want, guys. We are finding so much fraud, waste, and abuse. And here's the news, guys. This is the press release. Undeniable. We bring the receipts, guys, that our hard-earned money, it's so hard for them, which I got some good news we're going to be reporting on tomorrow for Social Security and COLA, seeing the largest increase ever, which is great. We're going to do that tomorrow. But when it comes to putting Americans first, this is what needs to happen. Put their butts in jail. Hold them accountable so that we stop wasting money. Want to say thank you so much, Tijuana Border Jumper, for the super chat. Let's go. He said, I can appreciate the investigations, but do something. We already know who is corrupt. And thank you so much, Andy, with the super chat. Said George Soros' son has made over 14 visits on behalf since President Joe Biden took office. Biden was brain dead, and who was meeting with him in the White House? Investigate this Trump. Let's go. And thank you so much, April Green, for the super chat. We are going to be praying for you, April. Hopefully everything goes good. Show April some love in the chat, as well as B1 Sly One. Appreciate you for the super chat, and Tijuana Border Jumper. Guys, the no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime is coming. That's what Trump wants, because this is good news, what you're about to hear next.
No tax on tips, and no tax on Social Security. How do those fare right now in what the Senate has, sir?
The Senate's weakened them. The Senate is rolling them back. You know, the Senate is reducing the scope, which again, I just have to say why. In order to pay for more solar energy subsidies? I mean, come on. But I'm concerned about it, Steve. If you look at the text, it just came out last night. This is the Senate proposal now. Again, not what the House passed, not what the president negotiated. This is a new proposal on the Senate side. And what it does is for those key tax cuts you just mentioned, it weakens them. It reduces them. So there's less. And I'm just asking myself, why would we give our hardworking people, those blue-collar workers we were just talking about, why would they get less so that China wind farms and China solar panel makers can get more? Why would blue-collar workers get less so that the hedge funds and private equity can get more? I don't get it. I mean, it doesn't help Missouri. It doesn't help any red state. Most importantly, it doesn't help anybody in the working class who voted for Donald Trump anywhere in this country. And that's why I say we need an attitude adjustment here. We need a priority adjustment in the United States Senate. Let's get back to the president's agenda that won this election, which is tax cuts for working people, protect health care for working people, and end the giveaways to the rich, to China, and to Wall Street.
Guys, if we don't bring the receipts, guys, I hope you appreciate this. Check this out. This is a chart released by the White House today that blue-collar wage growth is the strongest growth in the past 60 years. It's been down since Nixon. It was even with Carter, Reagan negative, Bush negative, Clinton negative, Bush negative, Bush Senior negative, W. Bush negative, Obama negative, Trump, it went up. Biden, it went down, and now it's going back up again for Trump. Guys, this is America First policies, guys. Let me know if you appreciate this. If you do, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up, like button in the guys, we really appreciate you so much.
Process. Our audiences, you know, they love the receipts and know where things are going. What is the process now just in the Senate? They're talking about a July 4th. You think this thing gets voted on by the Senate by July 4th so it can be sent to the House? I mean, what's the process right now as you see it?
Yeah, the process now will be the Senate will fiddle with this bill. This is why there's time to change this bill. It needs to be changed. The Senate version has got to be fixed. I mean, it's a mess right now. It has got to be fixed. We will vote on it maybe as early as next week, Steve. And then after that, what I have heard the Senate leadership say, and sounds like maybe they've agreed with House leadership, is this will then go to the House one last time, and that's it. So it's not going to keep ping-ponging back and forth. The Senate will vote on it, and then it'll have to go back to the House because the Senate's making changes. And then if the House passes it, that is it. End of the ball game. It goes to the president's desk. And listen, the goal ought to be to get something to the president's desk as quickly as possible. But, of course, it's got to be good. It's got to be what the president actually wants, what he ran on, what our people voted for. And, you know, I think the House turned in a pretty strong product. We got to get the Senate now to do its part here, and we got to get them on the same page as the president. My message is stick with the president, enact the president's priorities. And I'm alarmed. I tell you, I mean, I do not like what I see out of the Senate. What they proposed last night, what they just dropped last night, all of a sudden, boom, surprise, was really, it's a mess. And we got to get this thing fixed and get it to the president's desk.
Are you going to have basically a fact sheet that people can go to before the posse goes to the ramparts? We like to make sure they're fully armed with all the information so they can go through with it and think it through as they send emails, text messages, and make phone calls, or collar their representatives. Do you have a fact sheet? Is there a place on your social media or on your website in the Senate that people can go to and actually hear? Or you're going to put one up today at some time during the day?
Yeah. Yes, we will. We will do that today. We will put it up today, Steve. And folks can go to my website. Holly Mo is my Twitter handle.
Guys, let me tell you this. If this isn't, we are uncovering so much crazy good news. We just found out that Gavin Newsom and his wife have received more than $700,000 from California's largest public utility company, PG&E. Gavin Newsom's wife has an NGO that has received $300,000, guys. Isn't it so mind-blowing that every single time that there is a person who's been in the public sector serving the people, they get so dang rich? It's from our own tax dollars. They have learned to screw over the taxpayer in order to get their money. And it's amazing because what you're about to see next, guys, it all boils down to accountability. If we don't have accountability, we will never be able to fix things. And I love what I'm getting to show you next. And this is 100% promises made, promises kept, baby. Enjoy this. Check this out.
Fox News alert, the FBI has declassified a trove of documents suggesting there was a Chinese plot to sway the 2020 election in Biden's favor. An intel source says in August 2020, the CCP tried to flood America with fake driver's licenses, then give them to Chinese nationals so they could vote for the big guy using fraudulent mail-ins. A month after the plot was discovered, Border Patrol flagged 20,000 licenses at Chicago's O'Hare Airport. These were scannable with credible barcodes. Some even had the same photo and bio slapped onto them. Thankfully, they foiled the plot. 20,000 ballots could have had a big impact. Remember, Biden won Wisconsin, Arizona, and Georgia, all within that range. It's easy to understand why Beijing wanted Joe. They had the whole Biden family on their payroll. Meanwhile, Trump's squeezing Chinese heads against the walls with tariffs. But why are we just finding out about this now? The FBI got this intel before the election, and instead of investigating it further, they buried it. Former director Chris Wray even testified to Congress, and instead of saying the word China, he just screamed Russia, Russia, Russia.
The intelligence community's consensus is that Russia continues to try to influence our elections, primarily through what we would call malign foreign influence, primarily to denigrate Vice President Biden.
If this was a Moscow fake ID plot to help Trump, Wray would have held a press conference. He should be hauled back to Washington to testify immediately. If Democrats actually care about democracy, they'd want answers. And the media is complicit too. Reuters ran their own fact check saying no evidence the licenses were meant to influence the election. Here's MSNBC's quote. Trump's lie about Chinese election interference is debunked. Its effects still...
Guys, how insane is it? The FBI covered this up. The news outlets lied about it. And yet, how many dang times has Trump been right, guys? Time and time again. Every single hoax or story they lied about Trump, he has said the truth, and we're finally getting the dang news about it.
Linger. We'll see if they issue a correction. Cash's FBI has turned over all the documents to Senator Chuck Grassley for him to review. The story's far from over. Trump's consumed in one of the most consequential moments of his presidency. Nukes, oil, casualties, Mideast strategy. The stakes are high, and the Republican Party is having an open debate. But the Democrat Party's nowhere to be found. They've gone silent during an historical moment. Where are the leading foreign policy voices of the Democrat Party? The strategists, the hawks, the doves, anybody. Does anybody have an opinion? Democrats don't know what to say because they have to be told what to say, and no one's telling them. We haven't heard a word from Hillary, Obama, Biden, Kamala, not even Susan Rice or Blinken, Kerry. Where are all these people? While Trump tries to manage wars overseas, Democrats are trying to kick off a civil war here at home.
We don't have kings here. We don't have monarchs and queens and dictators. Democracy is the system which advances the idea that every single person matters and we all rise together. The opposite of that is a corrupt monarchical or dictatorial system. And that's what we've got now. It's a gangster state. He's pivoting to just make it a war against democratic cities. That's much more of an agenda to create a political civil war in America.
Ilhan Omar.
Guys, I have to show you this because, again, because of the fake ballots that are popping up, the stories, the cover-ups, I just have to remind you about this. Why in the world would they have to put up whiteboards to block people from being able to see the election and them counting the votes if they weren't freaking cheating? Guys, this is treason. FBI Director Wray knew this. This is what they did when it came to the 2020 election, which Trump, I think, honestly now, with everything that we've seen, he won it. I'm just going to say it. But I want to say thank you so much, Erica Chavez, for the super chat. Let's go. She said, I support and pray for President Donald Trump because he's the only one who loves America and, of course, is the president who has the courage and intelligence for defending America. Let's go. Show Erica some love in the chat, as well as Michelle Lindsay said, April made me do it. Donate love and prayers to everybody. Welcome to the family, your local big back. Wait, did I say that right? Your local big back, yeah. Y'all show them some love in the chat, as well as go, guys, still show some love to Grandma Bonnie Morris and Tijuana border jumper, guys. Show them some love in the chat for their super chats today, guys, because we are finally digging into all this corruption.
She feels like she's back in Somalia.
I grew up in a dictatorship. And I don't even remember ever witnessing anything like that.
Wow.
To have a democracy, a beacon of hope for the world to now be turned into one of the worst countries, while our president is spending millions of dollars propping himself up like a failed dictator with a military parade. And we should all collectively be out in the streets rejecting what is taking place.
It was just a parade.
Such a liar.
Grab a flag, sing the anthem. But you can't do that in her party. If you step out of line, you're toast.
I have absolutely. I've taken a hit from the base. I'm not sure why Democrats would boo a fellow Democrat, but that's their prerogative now. And now with that military parade, again, there was no goose stepping. And now, first of all, let's say stop ever comparing anything to the Nazis and those kinds of things. That's crazy. And now remember, that's our soldiers. That's, this is not an occupying force. This is a 250, anniversary for the Army. I don't understand why that's controversial.
Stephen A., who lives outside the bubble, breaks it down like this.
You have people talk about no kings, no kings. He's not a dictator. This is not an authoritarian regime. But that's why he's trying to make it like, well, really? That's why the state's suing him. That's why he's losing some of these cases in court. Last time I checked, you're in a position of power. You try to get your way. Somebody sues you. They fend you off by going through our court system. The court system makes a ruling. And as a result, it shows that our system works. What is Trump doing differently than what he campaigned on? You may not like it. That's why you win the election, so he's not in a position to do it.
Guys, let me tell you this. If there is the entire majority of America is siding with Trump, guys. And I'm telling you, I love it whenever you like our videos, you share our videos. If you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, guys, because what you're about to see next, CNN cannot help it. People side with Trump more than ever before, guys, and here it is.
And overall, I feel like there's more support for Donald Trump's positions than is comically acknowledged. Oppose Iran getting a nuclear weapon. I mean, look at this. 79% of adults agree on that. They agree with Donald Trump. Iran cannot get a nuclear weapon. 83% of Republicans, 79% of independents, 79% of Democrats. When you get 79% of Democrats and 83% of Republicans agreeing on anything, you know that that position is the very clear majority in this country. And so the American public is with Donald Trump. They definitely oppose Iran getting nuclear weapons.
So this is a nuance here, but Trump and Netanyahu both arguing that Iran is close to being capable of making a nuclear weapon. If that is the case, what is the feeling of Americans as to whether the United States should get involved in this conflict?
Right. If you buy Donald Trump's theory of the case, and I think that's important to note, this is polling from April. If Iran's trying to make a nuclear weapon, look at this. Overall, you get the slight plurality. I mean, it's within the margin of error, but the slight plurality of Americans actually favor U.S. airstrikes compared to 47% opposing it. Now, here's the other nugget I'll note, right? There's been a lot of talk online and on social media and in podcasts of a divide within the Republican ranks. But here on this question, if Iran's trying to make a nuclear weapon, look at that. 69% of Republicans, the clear vast majority of Republicans, favor U.S. airstrikes on Iran, on their nuclear facilities. But there is this substantial minority, 27%, who oppose such an idea. So it's not surprising you're hearing those other voices besides Donald Trump out there. There are plenty of them in the Republican ranks who oppose the U.S. striking Iran if they're trying to make a nuclear weapon. But the clear majority of Republicans are with Donald Trump if, in fact, Iran is trying to make nuclear weapons. They do, in fact, potentially favor U.S. airstrikes.
Guys, again, this is huge. People, overwhelmingly 79% of America side with Donald Trump on making sure that Iran does not have a dang nuclear weapon. I want you to listen to this, guys, because we've got a big update on what's going on with the big, beautiful bill, what's going on with Medicare, Social Security, Medicaid, guys, all the promises made, promises kept from the leader of the Senate, John Thune. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
We have received, as you know, from the House, Budget Reconciliation Bill. The Senate now, Finance Committee, has completed its portion of it, and it was released. The text was last night. We believe it leads to a stronger and more prosperous America. And so we are excited to get this bill out and on the floor. I want to applaud the members of the Senate Finance Committee, and particularly Chairman Mike Crapo for the yeoman's work that he did to ensure that this product got out there. Everybody's had a chance now to look at it, but we're excited about what it does for a number of reasons. And it does create permanence in a lot of areas of the tax code. It makes permanent the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act rates. It makes permanent the expanded child tax credit and increased standard deduction. It makes permanent a lot of the business tax deductions, which will lead to growth and expansion in the economy and better paying jobs. And of course, it includes many of President Trump's promises on the campaign trail, including no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and reduced taxes for seniors. And on the business side, we believe that making permanent a lot of the business tax provisions will lead to that growth in the economy that will create those better paying jobs and lead to a stronger and a more prosperous country. And obviously, if you look at what happens if we don't do this, the alternative isn't a pretty one. I don't think it's a universe that anybody wants to live in. Because it means a $4 trillion tax increase at the end of the year on the American people, 2.6 trillion of that tax increase will fall on families making less than $400,000 a year, and $600 billion of that tax increase would hit small businesses. That's the alternative if we don't take steps to act. It also includes a number of reforms and strengthens Medicaid in a way that makes it stronger and gets it back to what it was designed to do and for the people it was intended to benefit. And we had an opportunity today to hear from the CMS administrator, Dr. Oz. He talked about some of those provisions in the bill, and I'm going to ask him to come up and speak to that, followed by Senator Barrasso, and then we'll be happy to take some of your questions. Dr. Oz. Oops, sorry, there you are.
Well, thank the Senate for letting me address them today at lunch. The President and Vice President, who visited as well, made some comments that were hugely beneficial to explaining the scope of this bill. And I want to be very straightforward with a simple comment to start it all off with. This is the most ambitious health reform bill ever in our history. And it could not come at a better time. We have an unstable market that is causing lots of potential peril to Americans who need our help the most. The most vulnerable amongst us were the ones who will suffer the most if we don't get this bill through. It is investing $200 billion more money, roughly, over the next decade than what is the current level of spending. It is true that it's not going to go to the $1 trillion of spending that would otherwise occur. And how is it going to do it? Well, it's going to do something very important. It's going to curb the growth of Medicaid, which is right now has changed 50% in its expense over the last 5 years by doing a few things, including reduction of fraud, waste, and abuse, an aggressive program to make sure that the right people who are eligible are truly adjudicated to be just that, eligible. And the work requirement is part of that equation, ensuring that what is good for the individuals, what's very popular amongst the American people, the idea that you should be trying to work or volunteer or get educated, participate in your community in some way. And by doing that, demonstrate that you are trying your hardest to help this country be greater, by at least trying to fill some of the jobs that we have open. And by doing that, you earn the right to be on Medicaid. These programs, we believe we can roll out successfully. We have 2 pilots already using information technology solutions, an app literally on people's phones. 91% of Medicaid patients have a smartphone that can use an app of this nature that would help us identify how many hours you've worked, what you got paid, did you try to get an education, did you volunteer, and do that in a seamless fashion. We believe we can roll that out in 18 months. We already have the head of the USDS, United States Digital Service, Amy Gleason, creating a center of gravity at CMS to accomplish that goal so we can accomplish it within the 18 months that this bill offers. There's lots more to speak about in this bill. It is promising in many ways, but at a summary level, it builds a strong framework to allow us to do the right thing for the American people by allowing these systems to align the needs of the federal government and the president with those of governors and states. By aligning the needs of the federal government and the states, we can serve the American people most effectively. The current system doesn't do that. Between state directed payments, provider taxes, and other types of legalized money laundering, we're hurting the ability of the federal government to work with states to improve the system. And we know from having spoken to many of these states, these are the kinds of changes that could be beneficial.
Your caucus, Rand Paul, Ron Johnson, are you open to changing the Medicaid work requirement language in the bill or the healthcare provider tax language in the bill to address the concerns raised specifically by Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, Josh Hawley?
Well, we are in conversations with all of our members, including the ones you just mentioned. And as you heard Dr. Oz say, the provider tax state-directed payments are important reforms. And we think they rebalance the program in a way that provides the right incentives to cover the people who are supposed to be covered by Medicaid. And but we continue to hear from our members specifically on components or pieces of the bill that they...
And guys, remember, I'm showing you everything. We showed you earlier Josh Hawley saying, look, they want to lower the tax, tax on overtime, and then the no tax on tips. They want to continue the Green New Deal spending, things like this. So I want you to remember that as we are watching this, because again, too, it's so important to remember, what are they telling us? What are they saying with their words? And then what are they really telling us behind the scenes? And who do we need to trust? Who do we need a primary?
Would like to see modified or changed or have concerns about, and we're working through that. But at the end, I mean, the goal, as you all know, is to get 51 here in the United States Senate and 218 in the House. And so ultimately, that's the math that that I'm working with, that we're all working with. We want to get a bill out of the Senate, through the House, and on the president's desk.
Does the Trump administration need to seek authorization from Congress if they choose to strike Iran?
Well, I mean, I think right now the president's within his authorities. He obviously has a lot of authority as commander-in-chief to respond to incidents that happen around the world. Obviously, we have a lot of military installations, bases, military personnel in the region right now. And so I think he's perfectly within his right to do what he's done so far. And obviously, I think they're giving analysis to what may happen next in that theater. But we want to ensure that there is a good outcome there, hopefully a peaceful outcome. And I think the president's made it abundantly clear to the Iranians that he would like to be part of helping negotiate a deal that would end their nuclear program. But one way or the other, they got to end their nuclear.
Guys, let me tell you this. You think that they want to end their nuclear program? Are you kidding me? They've been doing this since the 1980s. I wanted to show you this, guys, because again, too, what we're moving towards, it all goes back to the money. You have to follow the money. The FBI is actively investigating the Soros-backed NGOs funding the insurgency in Los Angeles and in other cities. United States Attorney Bill Asali, FBI Assistant Director in charge Akil Davis, and IRS Special Agent in charge Tyler Hatcher warned sponsors of the insurgency of the consequences of aiding and abetting acts of violence during civil unrest. They are not playing around right now. And this is right now when I get to show you next, because there's people that want the war. Why? Because there's money in war. There's also money in recovery. You got to build back. General contractors, all this stuff, guys. Remember whenever we heard about us spending, what, $20,000 on hammers, $20,000 on screws, $30,000 toilets? Yeah, this is where it all goes back to, but I want to show you this because this is so big. John Reppy, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. He said, True Life News is just that, real news. I stand with President Trump, and thanks again, Joel. God bless America. John, appreciate you, brother. Y'all show John some love in the chat. This interview that's coming out, we have a small clip to show you between Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz. It is literally breaking American Republicans right now in the divide. Who is MAGA? Who is Rhino establishment Republican warmonger? Guys, listen to this.
How many people live in Iran, by the way? I don't know the population. At all? No, I don't know the population. You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple? How many people live in Iran? 92 million. Okay. Yeah,
He's at 92 million.
How could you not know that? I don't sit around memorizing population tables. Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government. Why is it relevant whether it's, it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant? Because if you don't know anything about the country... I didn't say I don't know anything about the country. What's the ethnic mix of Iran? They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay, this is cute. It's not even, you don't know anything about Iran. So actually I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran. You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government. You're the one who don't know anything about the country. No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the
I'm
one
not saying that.
Who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump?
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that...
We're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on...
Guys, this is big. Because again, too, Tucker Carlson is going out and he's talking to everybody, and there's a lot of people that want to execute things and they don't know anything about these countries, these people, how many people are being affected, what's going to happen. Are we actually opposing them? We got to be careful with these videos, guys, because we don't want to get in trouble. But it's mind-blowing that if you are going to go and literally upend an entire country, you need to know what you're dealing with in terms of the casualties, the population, the people, the economy, being briefed about this certain stuff. Now, again, too, Ted Cruz is one of the big, MAGA Republicans. He's up there. Let me know your thoughts on how does this make Ted Cruz look?
Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not
at all.
bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting
This is
Israel.
high stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Hey, guys, again, this is big, big stuff. Like, I'm telling you, there is so much things coming out. We want to bring you the most breaking news of what's going on. But again, too, there are people that are coming out in different ones, like I'm about to show you next, of who are leaking out or saying things. And it's like, who do we believe? We want to show you all the facts and then come to the best conclusion possible. But I'm telling you, a lot of people are saying some crazy stuff. Listen to this.
This would be more limited if there was perhaps just a bunker buster to wipe out some of the nuclear facilities, not maybe prolonged, could be more of a decisive event. Do you see that as a potential outcome as well? And is that something you're comfortable with if that is the ends to the mean, where Iran never gets a nuclear weapon, and some say it means not just Israel, but the world is safer, Senator?
Well, I think everybody hopes that Iran doesn't develop a nuclear weapon, but I don't think you can bomb away nuclear knowledge. It takes about a cupful of highly enriched uranium to create a bomb. And so I think that the possibility of being able to bomb away every cupful of highly enriched uranium is pretty small. The real question is, how will Iran react to this, and are we still open to negotiation? If Iran, after this incredible defeat by Israel, is willing to still negotiate, we should we should express all means and try to make every attempt to still have negotiation and not give up on it.
Let's talk about the big, beautiful bill. You also had a phone call with the president, and you just, again, praised him a little bit, but some thought maybe your relationship was a little bit frosty. You've been obviously a big critic on the debt ceiling as of late. The Senate Finance Committee released its version of President Trump's tax agenda. It scales back no tax on tips, overtime pay, cuts hundreds of billions in Medicare spending, and the salt.
All right, guys, this is the facts. This is the receipts. You just heard Josh Hawley say it. We're showing you the facts now. The Senate Finance Committee has already made some huge changes to the big, beautiful bill, the BBB. Scale back no tax on tips, cut Medicaid spending, salt cap reduction, which I'm okay with. I don't really favor salt, and raise the debt ceiling by $5 trillion.
Cap going back to 10, which we know the House wanted at 40, but that adds a lot of money to the bill as well. So first off, let me talk to you about what you're willing to negotiate. You told President Trump reportedly Saturday that you're not a no, but you say, too, they've been sending attack dogs at you, and that's not going to work. So what will work to get you to a yes here?
I've been consistent throughout my career. I'm for lower taxes and less spending. I'm for balanced budgets. I'm for a small, limited constitutional government. With regard to this bill, the tax cuts I'm for, I voted for them in 2017. There's a few additional tax cuts. I'm for them also. I want to make the tax cuts permanent so we can have some certainty so business can develop. I think the low unemployment in Trump's first administration was largely regarding and the response of the tax cuts. I think it was a result of the tax cuts. So I'm for that. I think the spending cuts that are in the bill so far are wimpy and anemic, and I think should be made better. But I could tolerate the tax cuts that a majority of Republicans can conclude on. What I don't want to do is raise the debt ceiling by $5 trillion because that means that we're basically expanding the credit line to Congress when Congress has already borrowed $36 trillion. We have a $2 trillion annual deficit. Our interest payment, for goodness sakes, is over $1 trillion a year. So this is by taking your 16-year-old, give them a credit card, they run up $2,000 in debt,
right.
And you say, oh, well, honey, I want to make it better. Why don't I make your credit $10,000? It's a big mistake. It's not conservative. And so I can support the bill, but they will have to separate the debt ceiling to another vote, or they have to dramatically reduce the number. I've said I will give them more credit for 3 months, and we should address this 3 or 4 times a year.
And no concern that since you have the Senate and the House now, that at some point down the road, though, you may need Democrat votes, and then it could become more problematic. What do you say to those who pose that argument?
Democrats have always voted to raise the debt ceiling. There's no historical evidence that they won't again. They love debt. I mean, the modern monetary theory is based on borrowing.
They're the ones that always say we have to raise the debt ceiling. So presented with the vote, the Democrats will vote for it. They always have. In Trump's first term, that's how the debt ceiling went up, was with Democrat votes and big government Republicans. This will be the first time the debt ceiling and the spending levels and everything will be the responsibility of Republicans. If and when this bill passes, the debt ceiling and the spending levels, there's no more blame for Biden. There's no more blame for Democrats. Republicans can't stand up and say, oh, it's the Democrats who are for borrowing and spending and all that. No, it will now be the Republicans that are for borrowing.
So again, guys, this is so huge because, again, it's so easy to say they're doing wrong, they're doing wrong. But whenever it's actually the ball's in your court to make the right decision, this is going to show whether everybody we have a uniparty in Washington, D.C. Doesn't matter if there's an R or D next to your name, because you're all going to do the exact same thing every single time when it comes to the spending, funding the Green New Deal, not putting Americans first, guys. This is the truth, the facts of what we're seeing. Talk is cheap. This is what's really happening. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support.
Spending. So that's a big mistake for this to be completely on the shoulders of Republicans, and I'm not for it. There needs to be a conservative remnant who is the same as we've always been, against the debt and against the borrowing.
Senator, it's great to have you. Did you schedule a follow-up call with the president here after your Saturday call? Anything on the books there?
I've talked to him 3 times in the last week. We'll continue to talk, and they need to know that I am available. You know, if the discussion is there are 49 votes, I will not be the deciding vote against this. I will negotiate, and I'll be a yes if the vote is needed. Right now, they have sicked their attack dogs on me. All these crazy, scurrilous characters are attacking me. But the thing is, that's not likely to motivate me or make me willing to accept something that's not conservative. But I will accept a conservative bill, and if they need a 50th vote, they'll have to separate the debt ceiling out. It's as simple as that.
Guys, big stuff that's coming, guys. Want to say thank you so much, Patrick Trebet, for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show Patrick some love in the chat. Guys, thank you so much for everybody who's watching. If you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button and helping us out with that. Also want to say thank you to all of our viewers and subscribers. We're so grateful that you support us every day and watching our videos. If you're not subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button, joining our family here at TrueLife News. We want to serve you every day with the top news. We are living through history, and we want to bring you the facts, the receipts, the truth, no matter where it comes from, guys. I want to say thank you to everybody that is a member of the channel. We're so grateful that you support us, guys. In our memberships, we donate this money in super chats to local charities. On the 22nd of every single month, this guy right here is donating live on stream thousands of dollars to partner with you and support to a local charity where we are changing lives, guys. And that's what I want this channel to be known for. An amazing community that has fun in the chat, has also a giving aspect to it, and we bring the truth. I want to give some love to Grandma Bonnie Morris in the chat, guys. Y'all show Bonnie Morris some love in the chat. Tijuana Border Jumper, show him some love to our brother who's also gifted 10 True Life News memberships. Thank you so much, Andy and April Green, B1 Sly One, Erica Chavez, Michelle Lindsay, your local big bag, John Reppy, Brenda Prentice, welcome to the family, and Patrick Trebet. Show them some love in the chat, guys. Thank you so much for liking our videos, sharing them. We are here to serve you. We love you all, appreciate you so much, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.